R09.
Welcome back to R09 Studios. We're here again talking about The Mandalorian. Now we're on episode 3. So what are you guys' thoughts on episode 3 of The Mandalorian?
I'll just say this much, and I guess it's jumping further into the episode, but Carl Weathers' character, you start to see he's got a ruthless side to him. Like at first you think he's Mando's friend, but then you're like, okay, man, this dude is ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course the opening scene, I think actually like you take it for granted at first. Baby Yoda wakes up and takes the little ball off the
knob.
control.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it, and then it kind of comes back up later in the episode.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, when we get to the end.
Yeah.
The one thing that was really interesting when Mando brought the Baby Yoda back,
Mm-hmm.
and they go into this room, and the stormtroopers are giving him lip like you ain't nothing. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, and that comes back to get him, but
Yeah,
we'll get to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But then they go into that room where he's supposed to turn over this Baby Yoda, and they open up this case of Beskar.
And it's a lot too.
And it's
a lot of it, right?
And so as we go through the episode, and in that moment, you realize that this stuff is really rare.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right.
At
right.
this point. Like, I just don't think that it's used much.
Right.
At this point.
Right.
I do think it's interesting when he gets all the steel, then they go down there and they start the argument.
Yeah.
But then you start to see how much clout this female blacksmith
gosh,
has,
yeah.
and they're going to blows, and
She
she's
just
like,
speaks.
right, and
And they stop.
it's really interesting because it almost, it makes it so, not that it's like the Jedi Order, but it's this Mandalorian order. It says that this is the way.
Yeah.
This
And
is
they,
the way.
and they all stop. They say, this is the way.
That is
Yeah.
a great.
And,
That's great.
and so it's just more the genius of the Star Wars universe, are just little subtle things like that. And I just think that they recognize, like, sticking together, having that bond, and then obviously we know she crafts him up some stuff
Yeah.
Yeah.
on that suit,
Yeah.
so.
And they're like, "Do you want? This is going to draw attention to you." They
Yeah.
mentioned that this is like,
Yeah.
if you go out there looking like this,
It's gonna draw attention.
everybody already knows who you are.
And I think, and we get another glimpse of his moral compass when they tell him, when she asks, what was the beast that did that to you? And he says, the Mudhorn. She says, that's going to be your signet. And he says, I can't. It wasn't a clean kill.
Yeah.
I had help.
Yeah,
He's honest. He's honest.
He's honest.
Yeah.
He has that moral compass is coming back into play
Yeah,
again.
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
So,
But that whole scene when he's in there is really interesting because you also hear that it seems like they're saying that only one of them goes out at a time.
yeah. That's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, and then, I mean, obviously that's completely
Right.
destroyed later in the episode, but they even
Right.
talk about it then.
Right.
But it seems like they only go out one at a time, and everybody calls him Mando. So what do they call
The others.
all the other ones?
Right.
Mando? What? I mean,
Right.
what is it? So they all stay in their hidden area,
Mm-hmm.
and then one of them goes out of time, and it seems like it's just him at this point.
Right.
It was interesting how this person who paid him off, he sent a bunch of different people because he had to make sure that this Baby Yoda was brought back. And the first question, you're like, what do they want with this Yoda?
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Well-
that's where he knows.
Yeah, and I think we can get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Because that definitely does come into play. But again, I think we also get, and this happens in episode 1, but also in episode 3, we get that flashback moment like in Jabba's palace, that tribute piece of he knocks on the dude's door and the little eyeball thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
one of those other
I
kind
love
of, hey, it's a flashback. Those of you who know Star Wars have
Right.
seen this thing
Yeah.
before.
And then he rips the head off of
Yeah.
it.
I love that when he goes back in, he's
Yeah.
like, just
Yeah.
rip the
Uh-huh.
thing off and he goes in.
Yeah, I think that's that huge chunk like starting from the middle to the last part, the action just starts and doesn't stop.
Yeah, I'm not.
When he decides that
if
he's not gonna leave and he's gonna go get the Baby Yoda back.
I mean, the question because
he
it's
doesn't want it
in the
dead.
trash can.
Yeah, he
right,
doesn't want it dead.
Right, and so my thing is like you wonder like the way he just wipes out all those stormtroopers in there, like who trained you? Like who told you?
Well, it's stormtroopers.
Right.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he wipes out.
So earlier in one of our other episodes when we were talking about, it was in episode 1 when we were talking about the whole clone theory. I thought you asked me a question the other day. So how could he have cloned Yoda?
Right.
It's like you couldn't think of how he cloned Yoda, and it just came to me.
Yeah.
I said, and this goes back. So my theory is that Palpatine, after episode 6, we all know because of the previews of episode 9 that Palpatine is not dead.
Right.
Or at least that's what we're assuming.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's not dead. And I have this whole other theory about Rey being a clone. That's something else we can get into later.
Yeah, different discussion.
We all know that Palpatine has experience dealing with
Clones,
and
clone
Kamino
troopers,
and clone troopers, all that stuff. So to me, it would be really stupid if he spent all his time cloning a bounty hunter,
right?
and then he didn't think about cloning someone that was force sensitive or a Jedi or himself
then you can
or
train
someone
him or
else,
something.
you know. And so my theory, you asked the question, well, how could he clone Yoda if he didn't have any Yoda's DNA? I said, well, he could have.
Right.
He could have. In episode 3, when Yoda and the Emperor are fighting inside the Senate chambers, and they go through their fight, and at the end of the fight, Yoda falls down. So when he falls down, and he gets caught, and then he falls out of his robe or cloak, and then he crawls out and he goes into hiding. So his robe
is left there.
And that's where you get the DNA from.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of thinking after we had that discussion, and you're like, oh yeah, that's where you could have got it. I'm like, okay. So I'd been really thinking that maybe it was a clone, and then watching episode 3, when he's scanning with the weapon and everything, and he's scanning, and you hear the guy talking, and he says, extract it from him, I don't care. Yeah. It makes me wonder if he's not a clone, but they want the DNA, they want to clone him.
Right.
That completely flipped my idea at that point, going, maybe he's not a clone, maybe they want to clone, but I still think it ties all into where we're going with episode 9.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I think episode 9 is going to deal with some cloning. I think this is all going to work together. I think we're going to, in the Mandalorian, I think we're really seeing what the Emperor was up to.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I could be wrong. We've been wrong plenty of times with Star Wars and what they're going to do.
Right.
But I really feel like we're going to see what the Emperor is doing. And like, this is the remnants of the Empire.
Of the Empire,
right.
Yeah. It's not the First Order.
Before the First Order emerges, right?
So they're trying to build this up.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe this is where it all starts.
Right. It's definitely a good possibility that it's all tied in like that.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think that scene where he's just going in there trying to get Baby Yoda, who's knocked out cold, and then the escape is such a big part.
Oh, man.
Such a big part of this episode.
Yep.
Yeah,
and we got to see another part of his weapon again.
Yep.
Where he's looking through and he can see through the wall.
Right.
And he can hear what they're saying.
Right.
Yes.
But I think, but again, it goes back to they all stick together. Because he's not getting out of there unless they and here's the thing, they're playing.
He thought he could though.
Right.
He thinks he knows he's a bad dude.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that, they play the sacrificial role.
Oh yeah.
Because they all go in there and they get him out at whatever cost.
A big dude drops in with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, like he just comes in
Big,
there
like,
just
machine guns.
right. He goes in there just firing away.
Yeah.
So
And I love that when he's flying away.
and they send him off.
yeah,
he's
they
like
send him off.
they,
yeah,
send-
and they
send
fly
him
up, and he says, "I got to give me one of those."
Right.
He's like,
yeah.
"Come on, get up."
They send him off. So, but like I said, this is the way.
Yep.
This is the way. Yeah,
You know,
I love that.
So
And then it comes to that last part
Yeah.
where you
with,
talked about earlier.
Yep, with the little ball.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
takes it back out, and Yoda has, Yoda gives it to the baby Yoda again.
Right,
You know?
but it just shows that this relationship is starting to really form. But like I said before, like he has a moral compass, but like when he unscrews the ball again and puts it back in his hand,
Yep.
like you could tell that they're really starting to have
Something there.
they're really starting to form a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see how that whole relationship between Mando and the baby Yoda kind of
Where
Yeah.
it plays and where it goes.
right, where it goes from here.
I was like, my kids kept on asking when he took him back.
Yeah.
He was like, "Is he just gonna leave him there?" I
Right.
said, "No, come on, that's the show."
yeah, we
Right.
already,
That's
Right.
the
we
show.
already knew that wasn't going to
That's
happen.
the show.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting.
And
to
it,
see
and
where
it shows
goes.
you where they're going because they're going. It's a lot is going to be about finding him and
Yeah.
getting that Yoda.
Right.
And the question is going to become, what is it that they want with the Yoda? And I look at
And
like,
how much are we gonna get? Are we gonna learn? How much are we gonna learn about that species?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Are we going to find out what the
anything.
species is called?
I'll say this
That'll
much:
be a start.
the way I look at like. You're not going. I don't think you're gonna know what they want with that Yoda until maybe the last episode of the season. Kind of
Yeah.
like Lost, where you're like wondering what is in that
Yeah,
hatch.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
And it just plays out and out
Yeah.
and out and out, and finally at the very end, you find out, what is,
Yeah,
what is the
that's gonna be
reasoning.
interesting.
So,
For sure.
Well, I think they've really set up this season so far, and I know I look forward to that weekly now.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in a little bit with episode 4 once we see it. We'll see you again. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe to R09 Studios.
roll 9.
And please tell us about your theories. Correct us.
Tell
Tell
us-
us we're wrong.
Please
Yeah.
do.
And we'll see
we're
what
always-
happens.
We're always open for dialogue. Love good conversations.
That's
Star
right.
Wars universe is phenomenal.
So we'll see you guys next time. This is R09 Studios signing off.
R09.